Ready?
Are you ready? Are you calm, relaxed?
Okay.
Yeah, get it out of the system, you know what I'm saying?
Gotta
Gotta do the... Okay. No
All right.
forcing around.
Hello, everyone. I'm Josh,
I'm Kyle.
and we are the GreenBros. Welcome to our very first YouTube channel, streaming channel. We're brand new to the whole streaming experience. With everything going on in the world today, we felt like we had to get out there and also speak on a lot of the current events that's going on. I'm sure a lot of you have seen plenty of videos on YouTube, Facebook, all the craziness going on with political events, but mainly, of course,
The Epstein files.
the Epstein files. So today we wanted to kind of give people just a quick, brief introduction if you're not familiar with it. If you're not familiar with who Jeffrey Epstein is, or essentially what him and his associates were into, from what we can tell from his emails, it's a bit of a deep rabbit hole, and it doesn't seem to stop.
It feels like you stepped up next to a big, vast canyon, and it's got a big old spider web on the top of it.
Yeah.
And it's big enough for you to walk on, and of course there's no spider anymore, it's just the remnant web. But the closer you get to the middle, you never get any actually closer. You're always just the same distance away. You never find the middle of the point.
Yeah, you never really feel like you're making any headway
No.
at all.
But, quick disclaimer, all of these are allegations. Nothing has been proven in court yet in any way, shape, or form. No criminal charges has been filed. So as of right now, all these are just allegations.
But let's be honest, people are going to speculate. And with a lot of the stuff that's in here,
It's hard not to.
it's real hard not to.
Real hard not to look at some of these files and come to some interesting conclusions with what you read.
I mean, we have names like Peter Thiel. We have names like Elon Musk, obviously the Clintons,
Donald Trump,
the big one, Bill Gates. So many powerful people. And it seems like this guy's network had unlimited reach, essentially.
Oh man, all the connections he had, the reach of his influence.
And of course, the $1 million question everyone has kind of sparked up with some of the recent videos from the coming out, people looking over the emails is Jeffrey Epstein still alive? I can't say, obviously, if we're going to be able to
conclusively confirm anything
on that, but we'll also take you through a bunch of the speculation, do some of the breakdowns of things that people have talked about in the past about the Epstein files and everything going on with his Fortnite account is essentially what sparked it.
Man, popping up in Israel 3 months after his supposed death. And then, what was it? Epic Games coming out and going, oh, no. That happened. It was some guy who thought it would be funny to meme it or turn it into some stunt.
Right.
Prank. The problem with that is that account already existed. So
I believe it was known to be his
actual account.
So as most of you, I'm sure, have heard, for those of you who haven't, Jeffrey Epstein was an extremely big-time financial advisor in New York. Despite what we're learning, he didn't really have a prominent upbringing in the financial industry.
No.
But
he was kind of propped up into it.
But we've heard everything from, he was a financial advisor. People say he worked in the CIA. He's done all sorts of things. And he essentially came together. The main thing he's known for, of course, is his island. And he helped traffic children, or essentially was the main linchpin in this whole
linchpin of trafficking
ring.
Children ring, yeah.
And the amount of connections to everything from seemingly politicians to Hollywood actors,
man, to business executives,
it doesn't seem to stop.
To banking executives all over the world.
People saying that there's ties to Russia, finding out things that Melania Trump was possibly an Epstein girl. Obviously, she has her background with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, he's got ties to the Rothschilds he'd brag about.
Yep. I believe there's even a couple of emails that mention that actually specifically state him representing the Rothschilds.
There definitely are.
So,
just so you know, all these things we're going to talk about can be found. If you go to Google, go to the search bar, type in jmail.world. The first category that pops up will be jmail.world, and it is a representation of his actual Gmail account. So anything you are curious about that we talk about here is completely accessible on that website.
Yeah, it's all in there. Those guys did a fantastic job of setting up that entire website. I'll try to make sure to post a link down in the description.
I would, yeah.
If you wanted to go straight
in case you don't want to search it for yourself.
You can look up different things like some of the key terms that you've heard people bring up. Jerky, pizza. We're going to be going over some of these things in today's episode. And due to the vastness of how much is here, this will most likely be
it's a multi-part episode, series. I can't tell you how many it's going to be because everything that we've already gone through isn't even the tip of the iceberg, and that's already close to God knows how many. We're maybe like an eighth of the way through the files.
Yeah, and like we've talked about, I mean, his influence was vast. This went all the way from him having talks to the head of Activision, the head of Epic Games, and
CEO of 4chan.
Yeah, you find out things like with the head of Activision helping enact COD points was supposedly something that he was involved with, and essentially instituting, type of currency for games and getting kids hooked on games.
What an ironic choice of name.
COD points.
COD points.
That's, yep.
Do we really need to say it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so as we go through here, we find out things that essentially what I put together and what Kyle's put together is, and I'm sure most of you will as well, is we know that not only did he like to indulge himself, but it seemed as though he was trying to use these parties and the trafficking of all kinds to essentially get people in his pocket. He could blackmail them. And he had, like the Clintons, Trump, you hear names of presidents involved in this. And so then you have to start to wonder, how does that influence, for example, the bills that are written, how the laws are made? We have to start questioning everything like that because we don't know just yet how far this goes.
Yeah, because anyone who had influence with him in our House or Senate or any form of our government that was held passing laws when they were in direct contact with him are complete fallacies at this point. Those are, what is it called again? Conflict of interests.
Right.
To no end.
Massive conflicts of interest. The curious part is, and we're still digging through everything, but is hearing things like people talking about how he could be tied to Mossad in Israel, but he also possibly did some financial advising for Putin. The stretch, the reach across so many different boundaries this guy had. And then on top of it, you were telling me about LifeTouch.
Yeah, so LifeTouch had some interesting connections with Epstein that was in the files and the emails of him. Basically, they have to send all their... Let me start this over. LifeTouch used to take photos for yearbook companies.
I remember those.
Right.
Yep, I think we all do.
Your middle school, elementary school, high school yearbooks, whatnot.
Matter of fact, go check your yearbooks just if you can for fun.
See who made those. Some of us might have made the cut because we're a little earlier.
Some schools might have been smaller or in different areas where maybe they didn't reach.
But all those files went down to Epstein personally, to Little St. James.
Essentially giving this guy a catalog.
A catalog, which they even say they had names, dates, where this picture was taken, how old this child was.
I mean, so you got to think, this guy could create an entire catalog of kids all over the country.
With the help of anyone.
And who knows?
Anyone.
And who knows, like, who he passed it to.
Right. You don't know where your information went, where these files go, who sees them, who touches them.
And so it makes you wonder, how did this all go so unnoticed or unseen or not talked about enough for so long? Which, of course, we know with the reach to officials.
Oh yeah, but I mean, when you kind of put it in that context, you can kind of figure out why nobody heard of it. He had all the connections.
Right.
They would have kept it, hush hush, or created some other type of scandal to cover that.
Plus, like we've always talked about before, as far as I know, once they take you island, you're outside U.S. jurisdiction.
Right.
And that's a big thing.
My other issue, though, is like, we kind of got to give some of these conspiracy theorists credit. Like,
oh, yeah.
They were screaming about this for years and years. And, some people wanted to let it fall on deaf ears. And I honestly, I thought some of them were far-fetched myself. I confess to that. But you got to give them their flowers. They nailed this one.
Well, it starts to put into perspective on top of it. I'm not saying every conspiracy is real. It's just maybe some of the crazier things that we've noticed, or the extremely bizarre things we've noticed certain people
might have merit,
or say might have some kind of merit to their actual character, or what some of these people like to do when they're just hanging out with their friends on some island.
I mean, it seems like a lot of these rich elites have these little islands that they own, but they don't, you know nothing about it, of what goes on there.
Well, so like you brought up, I mean, on top of that, we had the investigation happen. And I think once the Jeffrey Epstein investigation started happening, it wasn't short long after we heard about Pizzagate.
Yeah.
And so then you find out in the emails, which was interesting, is that Epstein was in connection with the head of 4chan. And essentially what it shows you in this email is that he was working with the head of 4chan to bring up the Pizzagate narrative. And I think the fact that they have the reach that they do could be one of the causes for not enough, influence to investigate or do anything.
I definitely think because of his connections, that's why it was kept very much hush hush and was easy to spread a falsified story.
Right.
Now, let me clarify. I say that one specifically is falsified because of the fact that, there is actual evidence in the files, which I believe we'll reference in the description.
Yep.
That tell you, it tells you in the files.
What you're looking for is essentially...
I was like, how do I want to word this without it sounding just...
Well, if you want, I can actually read them. A part of the email.
Yeah, just read a part of the email.
So one of the ones that essentially I came across that I felt really stood out was an email that had mentioned Pizzagate, in which it says, and I'll reference to who it's from, where it comes from, and where it's going, essentially, because he did have some emails just forwarded to him from other people about him or things involved with him. But it says, I have been in communication with someone since December 2016 who claims to have been an employee of Jeffrey Epstein after he was released from house arrest, who stated that shortly before she terminated her employment, either Epstein or his staff requested that she help to procure girls for him, which, get girls if you don't know procure. And she apparently claimed to have refused. I'm unsure who specifically made the request, but I believe the conversations are in an encrypted signal archive. My logs were all wiped from most of my computer after I tried to add signal to a new phone, but I retrieved the archive, which is intact, and I would be willing to allow access for it to be decrypted if need be. She has already come forward to you, and her story checks out. That's perfect. If not, please get in touch, and I will gladly provide whatever assistance I can. I can't speak. I don't want to break your confidence, but this is a matter bigger than any one person. She has spoken with multiple media outlets before, but has not gone on to record with any, or on the record with any, To the best of my knowledge, she said she was unwilling to come forward unless absolutely necessary because she was protecting someone. It is possible that this was an elaborate catfish attempt, though after 2 months earlier, I identified the significance of the case and brought it to the Waterbury PD and NCMEC's attention. Unfortunately, knowing of some issues in the allegiances. Oh, what the? In the allegiances, where was I? My screen moved. There we go. Of some in FBI NYFO, I took it to first as my primary interest was letting know that there was evidence to support her allegations. But my current, and this is the part everyone's probably been waiting for, sorry, but my current understanding is that I sold that information to Dylan Howard at AMI that night, prompting the shift from the vague spirit cooking narrative to the Pizzagate narrative within hours as I attempt to both intimidate victims and discredit Miss Blank
Redacted.
when she returns as being a result of mass hysteria. Never gave that info to her client before dropping the case, which I believe was set up involving AMI recruiting to target her intentionally to discredit future accusations of the involvement of those she accused in sex trafficking. So right there, we essentially have them stating they wanted to move the narrative.
They had to get the heat off of him.
Right. People were finally starting to look in.
Now,
and
don't get me wrong. Do I think certain companies or pizza restaurants might be involved? Sure, there's a possibility. The fact is they blew up one in DC to cover his ass.
And I think this shows clear insight that the rich and powerful are willing to do a lot of things to obviously protect these dark secrets and hide the evidence. And I think that's why this is so important that people really push to start paying attention now more than ever. And again, if you guys don't want to take the time to read through some of them, if there's things you'd like to know about in the emails that you'd like to ask us, and you want to see if we can look into it for you,
comment down below.
Feel free to comment down below. We'd be more than happy to. We will be going through these things for a long time, and it's mentally exhausting. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of stuff to read through, including even, you know, they send them ads and all sorts of stuff. So we have to filter through everything, you know, get to all the important shit.
If you've heard any other YouTubers talk about how just done with this they are, after spending just a week going through files, the exhaustion and disgust from reading these.
Which, honestly, there's a lot of great ones out there. I would suggest also checking out their content. They've done a lot of great info on this stuff as well. Shout out to people like Voidzilla, aka Coffeezilla.
AKA Coffeezilla.
They do fantastic investigative journalism. Artofkickz, he's done some really cool videos around not only the Epstein files, but some of the weirdness and strangeness in Hollywood.
Guys, even Papa Meat had to address it.
Papa Meat.
You know it's serious if Papa Meat had to address it.
Of course, Abin Preach.
Abin Preach, always keeping it 100.
Christopher Titus.
Christopher Titus even acknowledging this.
And Trapmore Ross.
Trapmore Ross. Dude, you have done some of the best in-depth deep dives on those videos.
Of course, Adam Mockler, Dean Withers, Parker. They always do fantastic work when it comes to politics. And I know they're touching on things around this, whether it be debating other viewers or...
But in fairness, they got even a lot to go through. You guys have your hands full.
And then there's a terrific video, I thought pretty awesome, by Flesh Simulator. He does a great job kind of talking about something else we'll get into as we get through this video, which is going to be jerky.
Let's actually dive in to the beef jerky.
All right, so
if you haven't been reading the files,
real quick before we get on to that, just I did want to give a shout out to those guys because they've done a fantastic job. They cover a lot of different topics, more than we will in this video in some of their videos. Some of them they just kind of touch base upon. Some they'll give you a little bit deeper dives, but give you general insight into everything.
Definitely look into those guys. We'll probably post their YouTube channels in the description. That way you can go watch their videos, see what they've done.
So one thing I want to get back, though, with Pizzagate was, again, we had mentioned causing distraction and misdirection.
Oh, yeah.
So also in one of the emails, which I will reference here, it was from the forwarded report in progress from DOJ 9. It says it also included a potential route for Epstein to have encountered Iams Demore and Kevin Cernicki, and I don't know if I pronounced those right, but agent provocateurs who infiltrated Google and were believed to have been involved in the promotion of the Pizzagate narrative and the harassment and threats made against
EFTA 00151-849.
I'm guessing is a certain victim case number, or
I have no idea, to be honest.
I don't know how they do that.
I know that's what a lot of the files were labeled.
But I would assume a victim, nonetheless.
That's my guess.
So there's just more evidence that essentially shows that despite all the craziness, all the stories we heard about Pizzagate surrounding it being primarily a Democratic.
Let's not forget that Epstein himself and his associates would reference pizza a lot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I gotta be honest to you, as a native Chicagoan,
Oh, yeah.
dude, pizza is everything to us, and this just ruins pizza.
For example, there's an email in here called The Pizza Monster.
Yeah.
DOJ
Yeah.
11. And it's a picture of Epstein with kind of this
smug grin. Just,
you know, real smug ass grin. And he comments, "She looks pregnant." And they reply, "You mean radiating a soft glow with the look of bliss and excitement? Yeah, that's the pizza." And with everything that we've heard referenced about pizza, I mean, that one to me is kind of like one of the most bold ones that you could say is like, oh, sure, she ate the pizza and now she's got this radiant glow. But I feel like
she looks pregnant.
And hence he's comparing the radiant glow of a woman being pregnant to pizza.
Which,
because she has a child, which is pizza to them. That's how I make
that's kind of how I'm taking it.
It's weird. And it's just the amount that they talk about pizza and the way they talk about pizza. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure with all our friends and stuff like that, there's times more than others where we express excitement and joy to get a good slice of pizza.
You know, as people who do cook our own homemade pizza, homemade dough.
Right.
I take pride in that. I take pictures of it.
But then it also makes you start to wonder about all the weird videos you've seen of celebrities talking about pizza in kind of a weird, emphasized way.
Yeah. A really disturbing kind of way.
But then there's like I think it's an interview with, I don't remember, they're on a boat, I want to say, and it's Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler, and he starts talking about the pizzas, and at one point she's like, "Shut up, Adam," or whatever. And I think it was meant to come off as kind of a jokey thing, but it's just the way that she kind of like gives him that look of like,
you ain't supposed to be talking about this.
You and I know when you ain't supposed to be talking about it. It's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah, the whole situation of turning certain acts into references to food. Didn't we used to do that with like weed?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the only thing you'd do with that? Was like the only time that would ever happen is like, oh, dude, well, let me get an ounce. Let me get an onion.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, again, it would be one thing if it was like, oh, the celebrities are constantly naming like these certain big time pizza joints. But there's plenty of times where they just describe how bad they want pizza or could really, they need pizza right now.
They were cheering for the pizza.
They were cheering. Yeah, that was the
Kevin Hart.
The Kevin Hart stand-up. He talks about having pizza, brick oven pizza at Jerry Seinfeld's house.
Watch that video.
You should check that out. And essentially, I mean, if we're going to get into it, where some of this seems to devolve from, if I were going to take a guess, is that there's an ancient deity, Baal, and I was curious on what deity demanded sacrifice, and Baal is one who demands it by fire. Now, it could be a stretch, but just with how weird things are getting. And Kevin Hart, I happen to see his stand-up where he talks about getting brick oven pizza
at Jerry Seinfeld's?
At Jerry Seinfeld's house, and how everyone's cheering on, pizza, pizza, they're all excited. And I think he says that Jerry basically starts cooking the pizza, and he brings it out, and everyone's all excited.
And they start cheering, bop.
He said it sounded like bop. Now, the way he even kind of says it, and the way I could imagine him mixing up, is what if they were actually chanting like ball, right? So he gets this pizza, he tries it, it's the most delicious thing, and next thing you know, he's cheering too. I don't know. It's weird.
It's weird
that they all got to make these weird references to pizza. Now, for all I know, maybe it's some big ass inside weird fucking joke.
But with how it's referenced in the file, and we ain't even gotten the worst part yet.
Yeah, so
we ain't even hit the worst part of this.
So I'm sure
just for this episode,
I'm sure some of y'all, like I said, have seen some of the stuff about the Pizzagate stuff. And then I mentioned Flush Simulator does a great video about hearing about jerky a lot in these emails.
Yeah, let's talk about the jerky.
And just like the pizza, I mean, you just get the feeling when they talk about it, the way Epstein obsessed over it, the way he needed it. He got upset when he didn't have it.
Dude, the amounts he was eating.
And the amounts of jerky he was eating.
25.3 pounds in a matter of days?
Yeah. It's
Dude.
things like that that make you wonder.
There is no way you were eating actual jerky. There's like no way.
No, I would imagine not. I mean, we have right here.
Just read the email.
So this was from the email Jerky DOJ11, and this was to Francis Derby. It says, "Hi Francis, have you had a chance to make any more jerky? Since being back, we are almost all out and would love some FedEx. And I am holding you responsible for breaking my good vegetarian habits of 6 years." Now, I just thought that was weird, and mind you, that was from Karnia Shuliak, who, if you don't know, essentially was really tight with Epstein. I'm pretty sure she was essentially his assistant.
I think she was the one that Epstein left everything to, if I'm correct.
So. But I just thought it was weird that, again, like, here's a case where a guy's just talking about this jerky, and it was so good that he had to break his vegetarian habits of 6 years. Could be small, could be little, but you also get ones like, which email is this from? Oh, this one was redacted.
Yeah, it was redacted.
The name's redacted, but it says, "Hi, blank. There's one bag of beef jerky in the fridge at 71st. Please get it. And also, blank has more at her place. Please get it from her as well and bring it all with you. I suppose it needs to be in a cold insulated bag, right?" Now, I'm not... Oh, I'm sorry. And she said, "A small insulated bag would be just fine. I wouldn't recommend checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice once you do." Now, this was weird to me because, and maybe I'm not...
Okay, how many people have had jerky? I'm going to assume quite a bit of people. I'm sure you've seen it in the store, hanging on the shelves. Even back in the day when we made jerky as our family, I don't remember once storing it in the freezer.
No.
Ever.
No. And I just thought it was weird too because, again, you go to the store, you see it hanging on the shelves. They don't put it in any type of cooled area.
Well, jerky's dried out meat anyway.
Right.
So...
Right. It's just real... It's real weird. And they keep bringing up whether they need to keep it cold. Like we said, it was the absurd amount that you find out Epstein was eating. I think you said it was like...
25.30 pounds in a matter of a couple days.
And we were essentially able to figure that out. There's another email in here that actually mentions how much jerky he had already previously gone through. The email mentions that essentially he had gone through it in double the time they expected.
Yeah, he cut the time in half of what he was expected, or they expected him to consume it all by.
Right. And so, again, it just makes you wonder, what's in the jerky, or what is the jerky?
What is the jerky?
I'm assuming it's a reference for something much more terrible and darker, and I'm sure I'll take... At this rate, with everyone picking through, it might just be months. Otherwise, it's going to be years if it's left to essentially the officials.
Well, you just had the FBI close the entire case. There was no signs of any wrongdoing in here, which we already all know is a crock.
And I hope everyone watching is smart enough to realize, or at least can admit, that when people like Pam Bondi and Kash Patel come out and tell you that, you know, Kash said, "Oh, it was just Epstein. He was the only guy trafficking and it was only for himself." I mean, Jesus, that's just been proven completely false. Why would you take anything else he says at face value? Or Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi was the same person who was the Attorney General of Florida and got Epstein his glorious deal to get off the hook in 2009.
Yep. So there's a lot of things to unpack here. We plan on making many more episodes. Honestly, it's just disturbing, this whole thing. I couldn't imagine being one of these kids or seeing what one of these kids went through on this island. I mean, I think if we all sat down and even imagine for a second, that should make everyone more than pissed off enough to want to do something about this. And I think the big question we should ask ourselves, why is no one being arrested yet?
Why has only one person been arrested and now is sitting in a luxury hotel of a prison?
When we found out that, like, again, it goes from, you know, talking to Elon Musk, the openly wanting to get on the island, which of course he claimed.
Bro, how is it so bad that even the creepy pedo dudes didn't want you on, you know, their island? They thought you were creepy.
That's messed up though. When a bunch of freaks don't want you on their island
because they think you're creepier and more disturbing than they are. Boy, that's That's one for the books.
But again, I mean, I think we also have to think about the things like this guy's reach should show us that you should be concerned on he was able to get into influence games. I'm sure he can do it he could have done it with schools. I mean, it doesn't stop. Once you realize that he had the type of money and influence to do whatever he wanted, and the big one that I do want to get into, and we won't be able to get into this episode, is apparently Epstein was talking to people about cloning.
Yeah, genetics.
So, and with everything we've learned about this guy, that just seems like the worst possible thing is to have someone like him wanting to get into human cloning and what
in
that
charge
would
of human genetics.
Because we've already heard stories about the baby farms.
Yeah.
I mean, that's already disturbing.
Was that in Georgia? They cracked one open in Georgia, yeah.
Yep. I mean, we have to basically assume at this point that there is a lot darker stuff going on around us than we ever imagined.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's be real on this. This man had connections so deep, so deep, that anything you think could possibly be involved may have a chance of actually being involved.
And I'm not saying go crazy. Don't jump on every conspiracy. It doesn't mean they're all true.
But there is a real possibility this is so intertwined with some of the things you didn't think it would be intertwined with that it probably is.
You just at least have to take into consideration and be more cautious that maybe the things in the world around us aren't what they seem, and maybe that we've left too many people with too much wealth and power, and I think we're starting to see the result of it. Because if this guy is big enough, and so are the other guys, that they're not immediately being arrested for being mentioned in these files and brought in for investigation, who's going to stop them?
First off, let's make one thing clear. Just because you're in the files, we've proven not everyone is guilty.
Right.
Like you had them scheming against Bernie Sanders and talking about Jon Stewart.
But I'm saying for the people in there, obviously, you know, like we said,
the
Elon
deep ties like Howard Lutnick,
Elon Musk wanted to go down. Now,
Donald Trump.
I'm sure they'll say things like, well, you can't, what did his one lawyer say? I think it's Trump's lawyer. Well, you can't arrest him for wanting to party with Epstein.
Right.
I'd heard that before. But the whole thing is that they still need to be brought in and talked to. There still needs to be a formal investigation.
The problem is you can't have this much evidence floating around that we can blatantly see by just literally going to the website and looking at the redacted files.
And that's another thing. If they aren't trying to hide anything, why leave a bunch of files redacted?
Not just that. Why were the only names that were redacted were the victims?
Right. And again,
and you had to have senators from both sides call this out.
Go look at it. You'll see for yourselves. It's not like all of us on YouTube are just making this stuff up. Oh yeah, go look at the files. They're actually redacted. There's plenty of people it would clearly just name, and they redact it so you couldn't tell who the perpetrators were who was inquiring about these different things.
Just today, Thomas Massey and Rokana came out and said that they saw at least 6 men named in the unredacted files that should damn well be in prison.
And that makes you wonder if Kash Patel and Pam Bondi lied about that.
And if they lied under oath, why is there no consequence?
And how can you trust them now to continue any type of investigation? And how can you trust them with what they tell you?
We have a system with no accountability. And that's an issue. That's a major issue.
And so if you're questioning things, which in the confusing world of today, we understand.
You should be.
That's why everyone, at least I believe the people who really want you to stay informed will tell you. Go look for the information for yourself. Really go read this stuff with your own eyes and realize what's going on in the world today. Don't just take it from us. Don't just take it from people on YouTube or Facebook.
Fair warning. You are going to be exhausted from what you read.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be disgusted.
Yep.
You're going to be offended.
Yep.
All those feelings and frustrations are justified for this. Just don't let it tear you down.
Be hopeful. More people now than ever are paying attention. That's why we want to get more people out there. We felt the need to make this channel to try to get more people out there to really be more active, be more informed. Don't stop reading just article titles and clickbait titles.
Fox News, CNN, CBS, ABC. Those media companies are not your friends. They are not going to tell you the truth. They are owned by the billionaire and elite
That's
class.
right.
And they're going to tell you what they want you to hear.
So like I said, you know, go look at people like Adam Mockler does a terrific job. He'll go debate different folks, and he always likes to bring facts. He always has his receipts. He does a terrific job. Dean Withers does a fantastic job going out there debating. Parker, fantastic job debating. And these guys like to bring the facts. You know, so at least if you're confused, go to these guys. Check out some of their videos. At least you'll see them provide you with facts when they make a statement, which is sad that you don't even see a lot of that on mainstream media or news outlets.
No, they won't even sort their own or cite their own sources, which is just amazing.
So I would say big shout out to all those guys.
Big shout out to the other guys who've already been digging into this. Like we mentioned earlier, those
Don't
guys have
stop.
done us and when I say us, I mean we as a people.
Yeah.
They have done us a massive service by looking into all this.
This has finally given the rest of us the insight into the world of the elites and what they're doing in the background.
And let me tell you something. They don't think highly of the rest of us. They think they are special, and we need to remind them they're not.
They think they're above the law. Well,
with that,
I would
we say there is a line in the sand. It is a moral line in the sand. If you are okay with what you see going on, I'm going to be honest, you're on the wrong side of history, and you need to recheck yourself and look in the mirror.
So you guys got to ask yourself, where do you draw your line in the sand? When do your morals outweigh waving a team flag or deciding that I like this person enough to basically trample on the rights of other people? You know, where do you say enough is enough? This is beyond messed up. I can't support anything you're doing, because that's what's going to stop this.
Intolerance will stop this.
Yep.
You can't be tolerant of what you see on this. Superman for Tomorrow said it best. When you see absolute true evil, it is offensive.
Yep.
It is grotesque. It makes you want to puke.
Yep. That's right.
We are looking at that right now.
Yep.
So if you liked what you heard, give us a like, thumbs up.
Subscribe if you'd like. We'd appreciate it. If you didn't like it,
downvote it.
Downvote it. Put in the comments
why you didn't like it.
A toilet emoji or a turd emoji, or tell us why you didn't like it. Of course, if you did like it, we always appreciate the comments, hearing that you appreciate the video or that you'd like to see more content.
And if you want to chime in on these subjects, by all means, comment in the comment section. We will be reading all this. So,
yep. Thanks for your time, everybody.
Hopefully we will do something a little more upbeat next week.
Yeah, we'll hope.
We'll definitely take a hold on this Epstein files for a week because I'm burned out from it.
Yeah.
I can't look at any more of that disgusting crap anymore. It's so vile. It's so fucking vile.
Well,
thanks, folks. Keep it sleazy. Fucking nerds.
Later, nerds.